YouTube. Change. All right, that's enough of that. Enough of that.
Dude. Welcome. Here we are. We're in our live stream.
Yep. Alyssa and Jeremiah's live stream right here.
Welcome to the pod, you guys. Welcome to the cast, as you
The cast. I believe it's called the cast, and I think it's the correct term that we should be using from now on.
As you've been known to call it, the cast.
I like to make up words. And whether that's a good or bad thing, we will find out, but it's quirky. And that's what you're going to get here at the Tiny Table Podcast. As you notice, we are going through a transition.
That's not the name of our podcast, sweetheart. It's the Tiny Chair Podcast.
Well,
you've been known to make up words and make up podcast titles.
I'm losing my mind. I don't even know where to begin. Let them see the setup. Tiny table, tiny chairs.
Don't do tiny and then point like that. Just go
Let's go that.
Tiny.
Tiny
table, tiny chairs.
Voices are low. Looking fancy, though. We are looking fancy. Thank you, Jarrell, for joining the chat. Joining us.
You know why he says looking fancy? Because last time I looked like a homeless person, and now I have a sweater. Thank you for the comment.
You know, Jarrell is a faithful friend who is honest to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about community later and the importance of that.
Mm-hmm. All right, are we ready? Are we ready to roll?
We're ready to rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Let me just pop this up right here.
What, for our thriving on fire comment section?
On fire comment section.
Good. Let's get it going. I'm excited. So, in case you're new here, in case you're watching this, and we're like, who are they, and what's going on, and what am I looking at? What am I watching? Let me tell you, we are Alyssa and Jeremiah, and I feel like, to put it simply, we have no idea what we're doing in, life in general,
yes.
Marriage, parenting, living, all the things. And when I say that, I just mean we're just sharing our journey here.
Yes, it's about a shared experience that no one has it perfect. No one has it right. And no one's going in the right direction at the same time.
At all times.
At all times.
Yes. We try to go in the same direction at the same time, I would say. But just we don't always know what's going on. So we are just here to share our little funny stories and different things about our life together and share it with you. Here we are.
So, saying that.
And we're ready.
Are you ready for this?
I am. I'm ready. I'm ready to get started.
I'm ready to get started. So the first thing we want to share with you guys is we have segments throughout, and we're going to be interweaving our family life, like you just said, our marriage life. You're going to know a little bit about us. And I'm sorry, I was a little disconnected. Sometimes I don't listen to my wife, and so we'll just start there. We're honest, right? Sometimes we zone out. One thing I love to say is that when we're first married or dating, I would say each other, and you soak everything in from her. You soak in you're just looking into her beautiful blue-green eyes, and you say, honey, you take it all in, and you're soaking it all in. But as you get married, more of it goes out than in, kind of thing. So, but that's not true of her. I don't even know what I refer to.
Okay.
Well, that leads us to this. That leads us to our first segment of the evening, shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts. And the great thing about shower thoughts is that it's literally anything. The reason that we have shower thought segment is because Jeremiah, my sweet husband, says things a lot of times that I say to him, could have been a shower thought. Could have kept that to yourself. Sounds like a shower thought. And I thought, let's start just sharing those with the world. They're pretty great.
The world needs to know
what
goes in the minds of the Trujillos.
Must come out.
And if you leave shower thoughts in there too long, they
probably get like mildewy and like
your hair clogging the drain.
Yeah, it just starts to smell.
No one wants that.
Slowly becomes unpleasant. You got to let it out. Clean that out. Clean out that shower thought.
Out the shower thought. So let's go straight into the shower thought. Shower thought.
Ooh, is that going to be tricky for you? That's funny.
Shower thought.
Sour thought.
Sour thoughts with the Trujillos.
Welcome to Sour Thoughts. The Trujillos are throwing their sour thoughts.
Jarrell says he loves your sweater, by the way.
Thank you.
I think you should start upping your sweater game.
Or should I wear this sweater every single podcast and then no one will ever know what episode we're on? I already watched that one. She's in the same sweater, and then over time,
well, the crazy thing is, you probably would wear this every single day. It's comfy.
Why are you calling me out like that?
No,
I like my comfy clothes. We wear them a lot.
But there's a part of you where you just need to overcome. Like, you don't need to be that comfy all the time. No one needs to be comfy all the time. Change.
What's wrong with being comfy? Are you calling me homely?
Homely.
I was called homely once, and I will never forget it.
So is homely a bad thing? You guys in the chat, you would say, is it homely a bad thing or not?
In the context to which I was called it, it was in comparison to being someone who is really good at like makeup and beauty. So it's like, oh, if you are really good at makeup and beauty, or you're homely.
You look like you churn butter for a living. Is that what they say? You're a butter churner. You make sure that the butter is churned.
Why is that a compliment? I love it.
You look like sourdough is your best friend. You look like the yeast of all time.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Say more.
So you look like you can grind your own beans. So that goes into
grinding beans.
Grinding beans.
You're
segueing. That goes into the shower thoughts.
Wait, I just have to say that all of those were like the most. You look like you grow your own garden. Yes, that's everything I ever want.
Your fingernails have dirt deep within them.
All of the greatest things you could ever say to me as a wannabe, like, homesteading crunchy mom, which I am not, but I very much aspire in some ways. That is just like, that's the hottest thing you could have said. All right, so we're gonna move on.
Was that all our shower thoughts?
Was it? No. Our shower thought, we haven't even started our shower thought.
No, we didn't.
Our shower thought we were gonna say was we were kind of talking earlier about what's the best type of coffee.
Yes. So the crazy thing about me is that coffee is just mind-blowing. I love it.
Should we tell them your coffee origin story, which also, the kitty cat's pawing at the cords, which also happens to be the genesis of our love story?
The genesis of our love story.
Should we explain your initial love of coffee?
Yeah. So how it started with my love of coffee and my love of my wife actually coincide with one another. So like, that's the craziest thing about coffee. It's when I met Alyssa, I did not have any idea what I liked as in coffee.
Or in women.
Truth. True talk.
Okay. Back to coffee. I was working at a coffee shop when we met. And so you came in for coffee and I saw you come in. And you asked me, you basically asked me to do like 1/3 of the cup as just caramel sauce with like a splash of coffee and then the rest of it cream. And I did that for you. I did. Did I judge you? Yes. I knew you didn't like coffee. And you kept coming in and kept coming in and kept coming in. And that's how we got to know each other, was because you continued to order coffee from me even though you hated it.
And you know what? I did hate it. And the only reason I was there is because of you.
And then now, fast forward 13, 14 years later.
I freaking love coffee.
And
I not only love it, I love the taste of black coffee. So that means my love for you is deep, deep, deep well of black coffee. And to the point where like I
You love coffee. You love coffee so much that you drink it black now. So that's interesting. That's coincides. So all that to say, our coffee journey over the years, we've done everything, you guys. We've done everything. I feel like when we first got married, we had like a little brew machine, but we had a Keurig. And even though I was a barista, and I was a barista for 10 years, and I was like, okay, like let's just do what's easy and, quick. Throw in a Keurig, whatever. We did that for a little while. Moved on to we started doing French press.
Yeah, French press was like kind of the gateway drug for me.
I really liked French press. I like doing French press. It's a little bit slower of a routine. I kind of like having a slow routine of coffee where it forces you to you take the time, you take care of it, you do it. It's good. I remember that we had, after, I think it was when we had 2 kids, and I remember being like, I am so tired all the time. I need my coffee ready before I even open my eyes in the morning. It needs to be hot. So I walk in the kitchen and I pour it out. And that's why I did the drip machine, because I could pre-program 12 cups of coffee the night before.
It's insane, because I feel like our journey to coffee is very different, because you, from a barista standpoint, made this home ground coffee and delicious espresso, but then you started to degrade to drip coffee into like the Nespresso that we have now.
Right.
And
listen, I'm not done with the journey.
But then I haven't
finished the journey.
But like for me, we diverged, because I went to a point where I needed that black coffee and needed to taste the beans and the soil themselves.
You just want to taste beans.
I did just want to taste beans.
Yeah, that's who you are as a person. But here's the thing. You're right. Your journey was very like linear, not linear, but the trajectory was set. You went straight up, and you are now a pour over man. However,
I am a pour over man. I am just a pour over man.
It's true. So when my journey is very much fashioned around what my life is like at that moment. So I, when I have a season where I can slow down and spend time on my coffee, we had an actual like double boiler espresso machine, and I had like the portafilter and the tamp, and I'm doing all the things, the grinding and like doing everything right there. I had the steam wand, the pitcher. I'm making myself lattes. It's delicious. It's amazing. And then I was about to have another baby, and I was like, I need the coffee just ready to go. So it just depends on my season of life. That's what I do. And now I'm in an espresso machine
which I loathe, and it's a necessity, and I get it, but it just tastes.
To be fair, I purposely buy the little lids that you can put on the pods so I can refill them with my own coffee, and then put the lid on, and then I brew my own coffee that I like. I don't really enjoy the like Nespresso brand or like the Starbucks pods or whatever. And I also think they're wasteful. But I do it so I can have a quick push a button. Here comes the espresso, froth the milk, put it in, and I have a latte within like a couple of minutes each morning. Yeah. That's where I'm at. Because that's the season I'm in.
I guess. Do you think you'll ever go back to like delicious coffee?
100%.
Because I feel like the idea is that I love my coffee like I love my woman.
Stop.
Bold and beautiful.
Don't.
And so that is our shower thoughts for
You're trying to wrap it up.
I was wrapping it up.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up. Okay.
I got a little lost there. We're all a little lost, but I think that is the key. Is I love the idea. I now looking back at our story, is that we see how our coffee journeys I become the more like.
You think you're better than me when it comes to coffee, and you are trying
I
to
don't
paint
think
a
I'm
picture
better. than you. I know that my coffee's delicious when I pour over.
No, the pour over.
The slow pour over and the time and technique it takes. I'm proud of myself. I come from a journey that not many men go to.
You went from a poor man to a pour over man.
So saying that.
Okay.
So
all let's say. Great. Good time. That's our coffee journey.
That was our shower thoughts for the evening.
And currently, I say the best type of coffee is the coffee that fits your season. And you say the best is pour over or get out. So we're just in different camps in that way. Just a little different. It's fine.
Well, the tough thing is that you do. Okay, let me just rant a little bit. People should drink their coffee black.
Okay, let's go.
No, where's it?
Next.
There's no reason to add milk. There's no reason to.
I'm pushing the button.
There's no buttons.
We're moving on.
Do not put coffee in black. Don't put milk in your black coffee. Taste it as is. Grow some chest hairs and get it done.
Enjoy your nasty hot bean water and be miserable. The rest of us put cream in because we love ourselves.
Because you're weak. You know it. And saying that, let's go to our Cultural Minute.
Da-da-da-da. In tonight's news, our Cultural Minute comes from, well, here's what we're talking about today. A couple things going on in the world. You wanted to talk about TikTok, which let me just say, I know nothing about TikTok. I've never used TikTok, and I don't know anything about
So you're telling me you don't even know the concept of TikTok?
Obviously, I understand the concept of TikTok.
Okay, you're not a boomer.
What I'm saying is, when I say I know nothing about TikTok, what I'm saying is I don't know the settings and what information is shared and what information you give because I don't have an account.
So,
and so the problems that they're having with it that they're going to ban it for.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not going to speak about the
ban?
Security issues. I'm talking about the ban.
That's what I thought you wanted to talk about.
I want to talk about the ban and how do you think it's going to affect people? And how do you think people who are addicted to TikTok or just the idea of is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Just the ban in general.
The ban in general, not going the weeds about China.
All I know are the weeds. That's all I got is weeds. And my whole brain is weeds. I'm saying I don't know how to look at things in general. So, okay. I hear what you're saying. So, we're not going deep into the cultural dive of this. I'm not a Philip DeFranco or I'm more one of the greats.
Yeah, I'm more of the shallow end of the pool.
Yeah, you're about as shallow as a shower thought.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a song. So
shallower than shallow.
No.
Okay.
So in general. I would say that the hardest thing about the TikTok ban is all the people who make their living on TikTok. I've seen a lot of posts on Instagram of people being like, I guess I got to move all my content over to Instagram, or on YouTube being like, I'm uploading all my TikToks as shorts now, hoping that their followers still join them and that they can still make an income because their income was coming from TikTok. That's the hard where I'm like, oh yeah, if TikTok's getting banned and that's your income, that's a bummer.
That is a bummer, but I feel like if you have a following, you can easily move on to something new. And the people already have.
Everyone's already on all the platforms.
Absolutely. If you're a professional social media influencer, you're already doing that. Mm-hmm. The thing is, I think it's going to impact the most is those TikTok artists, music. Because people blow up on TikTok.
Isn't it the same thing as the influencers? Is your music not also on Instagram and YouTube Shorts?
If your song is trending, it's gonna blow up. And there's so many artists that get rich quick. I don't know if it's lasting, but there's so many TikTok artists that blow up because they one song because of TikTok. So it's gonna be interesting to see that dynamic change and where TikTok will even if it does get banned or not. But
is it for sure? Is it happening?
It looks like it. It looks like it's pretty sure it's happening. So I think overall, I think it's a good thing. We don't need more social media apps, but we're posting to YouTube.
You literally are trying to be a social media
I'm literally on a high horse that needs to step down. So
as we podcast, I'm saying social media is not good for you.
Yeah. I'm not recommending social media unless you're over 30.
Over 30?
Over 30. I think 30 should be a driver's license. That's it. No. Okay.
I think that's...
But that's actually a law that just passed. You have to be over 15 in some states to have a social media. And you have to have a signed parent consent to do so.
I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that.
There's a ton of wisdom in that.
I think in general, I mean, we don't have to get in the weeds on this, but just in general, protecting children is extremely important,
100%.
especially online. So I think that that's huge.
Yeah, the dangers of the social media are real. And it is out there. And it's too easy to go down the rabbit hole.
Particularly young teens like
Yes.
that, like 12, 13, 14. Like that's super vulnerable time. So I get what you're saying, getting rid of TikTok, but it's like they're going to just do the literal exact same thing on Instagram and Facebook. And no one uses Facebook, but Instagram and YouTube Shorts.
MySpace.
Ooh, MySpace.
MySpace. Making a comeback. No. But we can close that chapter on TikTok. We can move on.
So the other thing we talked about this last week a little bit was the fires.
Yes. So I really want to talk to Alyssa about this because I have an incredible wife, as you can see. She is patient, kind, and loving, but she's also prepared and not scared. And I'm usually not prepared and not scared.
Which is somehow worse than being unprepared and scared. You're unprepared and not scared. It's so much worse.
I'm oblivious. I think that's what that's called. I'm oblivious. And so talking about the fires and not like I see the destruction going around. We live in kind of a fire area where we live, and we're always getting alerts and what's going to happen. Power's going to shut off. And saying that, Alyssa, my wife, has prepared our family, and she may have some tips to share. Take them and leave it. Remember, we're not professionals. We don't get it right, but hey, it works for us.
Yeah, it's not like so much that I have all these tips planned to share.
Yeah.
I've also been given a lot of very valuable information by friends about things that are good to just like do to prepare.
Top three things that you do for our family to be prepared for a emergency.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up like in this area. I grew up in, Fallbrook, fire country. It's like, it burns. It just does. It happens all the time, every few years. And as a kid, we got evacuated multiple times. And I remember being like, it's just seeing my parents like getting ready for things. My dad, and the fires even went all the way down to my mom's house where it doesn't usually burn. So I remember, having some essentials like ready to go. We also had a trailer when I was a kid, like an RV. So it was easy to be like, throw everything in the RV, and then we have a plate. We could, we spent the night in like a Walmart parking lot, and things like that when we were evacuated. So I'm thinking that way. And then it was cool. So I went to this, it was like a mom meeting that had like a preparedness theme, and it was cool. I learned a lot of things there. So
do they also churn butter there?
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
A lot of them do. Yeah, for sure. But it was really great because it helped me so much to think like, oh my gosh, yeah, like the littlest things, like before I get to my top three, like not letting your car run out of gas, not letting your car get like to a quarter tank, and I got in the habit of being like, mostly, I still fail sometimes, but I got in the habit of being like, when I hit half a tank, I just go fill it up. And it makes it so much easier I'm never in a hurry. When I see the half a tank, I'm like, oh, great. Yeah. The next time that I pass a gas station where I'm not like on my way somewhere trying to get to an appointment, whatever, I just fill it up, and it's in a stress-free environment. And I heard scary stories about, people being in emergency situations saying, I'll get gas in the morning. Well, the fire's outside, you have to go, you don't have gas. It's like the littlest thing, right? You need to have gas in your car. And then in the car as well is like a big one. So like I have extra clothes ready for everybody except you. Told you to pack some extra clothes and you haven't done it yet because you're not scared and not prepared, and that's okay.
And the tough thing about packing extra clothes is I don't have any.
Well, that's the thing. I did this pre my minimalism phase. So before I got super into minimalism and I had all these bags of clothes I was about to get rid of, and I was like, oh, extra clothes for the car. Packed everybody's extra clothes, including my own. And it's like extra clothes. Also, emergency food. I mean, littlest thing like canned chicken, beans, things that you can eat, high protein, good quality foods that you can have in the car that are like, we're stranded on the side of the road. We can't, we're not able to walk anywhere. We don't have anything to eat, that kind of thing. Bars, stuff like that. Extra clothes, food, and then like first aid. First aid is a big one. So I have like a full first aid kit in the car. Like I have trauma shears to cut the seatbelt or to cut clothes open, that kind of thing. I have flashlight, lighter.
Next time you should bring it in. You should do a show and tell one of these days.
I don't need to do that.
Show and tell what's available.
And then just like your standard first aid items, right? Like gauze and bandages and like stuff to help anything. And because like what's like the most common thing to happen is like car accidents. And that affects everyone in your car, little, big, everybody. So having those supplies on hand, it was cool to hear that from somebody to be like, you are your own first responder. And I was like, yeah, I am. Like, I can't just be like, oh, my child is bleeding out. Let me call 911 and hope they fix it. Like, I need to be prepared. I also did first aid training, which I did for work, but it obviously transfers over into everyday life, which is really cool. We bought like a power bank. We have that power bank that works great in case the power goes out. We should probably get a generator. There's probably a lot of things I would like to get to be prepared, but another day. So yeah, just having like the most basic, like that's like the most basic ever, but just general being prepared for an emergency. What do you think?
No.
No.
I'm just thinking, yeah, that's great stuff. And that's why I don't think, because my wife thinks for me.
In fact, you weren't listening to anything I just said. I could tell by the glaze in your eye that everything I just said went in one ear and out the other.
I have to hold on to other information for us. So you hold on to 75, I hold on to the 25. And in a good way,
Sounds
you bounce
fair.
us.
Yeah,
no,
it's a good way. In a good way. I get maximum capacity, and you just carry what you can,
Which are the boats. I carry the boats. I carry the car. I lift heavy things.
It's so
I
true.
lift heavy things. I get things from tall spaces.
We need that. No, like okay, here's an example of that. We went down when I was very pregnant with Joni. We decided to take the train down to San Diego. It was blistering hot. It was
a heat wave that was like 108.
Over 100,
and this is San Diego weather, so this is not like a common thing that happens.
It was like over 100, 108 at our house. And we were like, we got to get out of Fallbrook. So we took the train down to San Diego because San Diego was only going to be 90. We were like, wow, or like 95. Like that's a whole 10 degrees or more less than at home. So like we got to get down there, take the train. The kids are like immediately exhausted because there's a lot of walking involved from the train station to, we went to like a restaurant or something. And they were so tired. I was pregnant with Joni, and you were like, these kids were like about to fall off their legs. And you just like scooped them up, one on each hip, and you walked all the way like 5 blocks or whatever to get back to the train station at the end of the day. It was incredible.
You should share those moments.
I can't do that, especially pregnant. Like I can barely lift Judah like as is, but especially pregnant, I'm like, there's no way. If that's your 20%, I'll take it.
It's a heavy 20%.
It's heavy.
It's heavy to us. You like, again, like, I'm so grateful in those moments where I'm like, oh, I know. That's the thing about it. Is like, you're so great at loving me because you take the worry off of me. Like, I don't have to worry about this stuff.
What's that like? It can't explain it.
I can't explain it. I leave my clothes and a gnome comes by.
The house gnome.
The house gnome.
When did we talk about the house gnome?
We're not talking about the house gnome.
There's a house gnome. The house gnome mysteriously leaves messes for me and mysteriously cleans messes for Jeremiah. It's a very biased gnome. Doesn't like women.
That's funny.
Is it?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it now? Okay.
All right. Well, with that, time for
Tiny. Oh.
Thank you for enjoying our
Tiny takeaways.
Tiny takeaways. That's us. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
So this is where we get into like a little bit more of the meat. It felt like a lot of meat so far, to be honest.
Yeah.
But whatever. So this is where we get into some of the marriage, family, parenthood, different things that we like to talk about.
Yeah, we like to talk about these things because, again, I think we can be relatable and we want to encourage people, but we love to just chat about it mostly. And you guys can be a part of that. So welcome to our bedroom where we talk about our family.
Yeah.
where we created family.
Yeah. Oh, no one has to hear. They know. We don't need to explain that part.
Do they know?
So anyway, we call it Tiny Takeaway because it's the Tiny Chair podcast. And also because it's like, it's a takeaway for us and it's tiny because it's like, it's not like we're trying to give everyone else all this advice. We
No.
just something, it's a takeaway that I had
It's
in my
like
life.
something you'd be staying up at night saying, "Dear journal, I took away this thing today."
Yeah.
It's like a dear journal. Tiny takeaways are dear journals.
Do you open your journal entries with Dear Journal?
I say, "Dear journal, today." Yeah. that's what I-
Journal. Dear Journal. I love that.
Dear, you don't open up your.
So formal.
It's a classic. You say, "Dear journal."
Dear Journal.
That's how
hilarious.
every journal writer writes.
No,
Dear.
well, I use.
What do you say? Like, today I.
No, I open up with Dear Diary, which is more of a
Dear diary.
Dear Diary is what people say, but also it's like
Is that what they say?
so formal. You know what I used to open up my diary entries with? Hey, it's me again.
I'm back.
Just
want to come by and.
hey, it's me. I'm so annoyed at my sister again. Ridiculous. I can't believe that she thought this. And I just would go on and
Do
on.
you know what I would write sometimes? Is like, I don't want to write in my journal, so I don't know what to write. So I'm just going to write this. Good night.
I 100% believe that.
That
Somebody else was forcing you
Yes, I was like-
to write in a journal.
they want something from me. You're going to get the bare minimum. You're going to get the literally bare minimum.
Oh,
And
man.
say, good night. See you tomorrow.
Great.
Maybe.
So dramatic.
I'm a very dramatic man.
Little Jerry is a feeler.
Little Jerry.
Young Jerry was
Young Jerry.
was a feeler. He had a lot of big feelings.
Young Jerry, little Jerry had a lot of big feelings. That sounds like a good children's book.
Young Jerry had a lot of big feelings. He didn't know what to do with them. So his mom told him to write in his journal.
Dear journal, I don't know what to write right now. I have big feelings. Big feelings. On that note, do you know a way? I didn't learn this till like I'm 33 now, going to be 33. I'll be 31 years old, 32 years old, to express what big feelings are or to acknowledge this. So like a quick tiny takeaway then, and then we'll go to your takeaway. If you're a guy out there and you're like, why am I feeling this way? And you don't know how to articulate your big feelings, because we all have big feelings. Don't deny it. Is the acronym HALT. 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 Word of the day. So H stands for hunger. A stands for anger. And L stands for lonely. And T stands for tired. So when you are starting to feel agitated or something's off, think, have I eaten? No. Are you angry? Probably. Are you lonely? Can be. Are you tired? Absolutely. So once you knock out, feed yourself, resolve the anger, be with your wife, and get some sleep.
And it solves all your problems?
It solves so many problems. So when your wife asks you, or your people like, what's wrong with you? That's probably not the best way to ask. But
No, what I should say to you is halt.
Halt. Halt. Halt. Is that what they say? Halt.
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 In the name of the law. I don't know. I'll start saying that to you. And
You
then
should.
and you won't I won't give you any context. You'll just say something snarky to me and I'll be like, halt. There you go. That's a good takeaway. I like that one. I'll try to keep mine short.
Yes.
So my tiny takeaway is I was in a Bible study. I started a Bible study. Thank you. I started a Bible study group, like going to a group, which it's my first time at a Bible study at our church, at our new church. And
Tell them what's unique about this Bible study.
which part? It's very so I love this Bible study. I was kind of nervous about like joining a new group, especially because like a lot of these like women's groups, it's like they're very established. They've been meeting together for many, many years. They know each other so well. They all
It's
raise their
like-
kids together. And go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like a new chicken going into the hen house, and sometimes the hen house has a tough time adjusting to that new chicken.
And sometimes they get their feathers plucked out, and you're just like, how did I lose all my feathers? And then you're like, I guess I'm just not gonna have feathers. And you just like make it work. But that wasn't what it was like. I was nervous about that. So I decided to sign up anyway. I did know one person. So I had one friend in there who was like, come to this Bible study. Please come join me. This group is great. I am the youngest person there. And
By how many years?
you know, that's a really good question. Minimum of 20 years to 20 to 30 years younger, I would say.
A lot of wisdom in that room.
Like,
a lot of wisdom.
I would say no one in that room is under 50.
Do you love that?
So I love it. This is my takeaway. I love it because it's one of those things that's like, when in my life would I be in this room with these people with their age, their life experience, the things that they've been through, and we're all in the same room just talking about our lives, and they are giving me so much wisdom and so much like love and acceptance, and it's like a completely different vibe than being around people who are all your same age and all kind of drowning in the same sea of, parenthood and, schooling and just the home, taking care of the house, all the different things. It's like these women are out of that season, but remember it so well. And they're able to just give me so much encouragement and love. And it just makes me think like I'm so thankful for the church and the body of Christ specifically, where because just being at a church, typically, I would say at a healthy church, being at a church, you are going to meet all kinds of people. There are believers in Jesus on every single continent, in every type of background, every walk of life, every race, every income level, every tax bracket, every type, every culture has believers in Jesus because Jesus has the power to penetrate all of those barriers, right? But you being in the body of Christ, you're going to be surrounded by so many different types of people that otherwise you may not have a connection with them naturally. And to have that thing, like your beliefs in common, just builds this immediate bridge. And it's just really cool. Like I was, the women at this Bible study are all very, very similar women and in a similar stage and all doing similar things in the similar church in a small town. But it was like a really cool thing for me to be like, man, this is cool. And being at church is cool. I don't get to receive wisdom like that just in my daily life with outside of church.
Yeah, it's definitely unique in that way where you can have something in common with someone such a different generation raised differently. And I think it's so cool. One of the cool things that I love that you said about being with a different generation as they get old, when women and men get older in years, they don't give a rip about feelings. They go straight for the truth. They don't have time to waste, and they tell you
straight to the jugular.
Straight to the jugular. And so, and it's kind of off-putting, but also refreshing, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's great. One of the ladies, God bless her, I love her. She told me that whenever she sees me walking into church on a Sunday, I look really stressed and tired.
Which is true. She gets all 3 kids ready and getting to go, feeds them, dresses them, brushes their hair, because that's my requirement. And then
I mean, it's a good thing, but because you work at church and you arrive at 6 a.m,
yes.
And so you're working, you're serving, like right as the sun comes up, you're serving. So my job is to get the kids out the door on time, fed breakfast, all the things, and show up. And apparently it shows on my face how homely, how that went.
How homely she's looking.
It's ridiculous. So that's my tiny takeaway. I love community. I love the church.
That's why you should get plugged into the church. If you're looking for a community, you're looking for to get plugged in somewhere, and you're seeking, find a good one.
Just Google
well,
church.
I wouldn't just Google church. You might find a cult. So
Beware of cults.
beware of cults.
Back to
the
pod.
Back to the cod pod.
You know what's fun? We get to end our podcast with our favorite tradition.
Our favorite, most highly anticipated tradition, the Q&A. Oh, I thought we were saying at the same time.
Q&A. Look at us. So young.
I like
so
those glasses.
naive. My clear glasses?
Yeah.
Should I bring them back?
Should bring them back.
I'll do it.
So what is today's Q&A
All right.
for the day?
Today's Q&A comes courtesy of a quick little Google search on popular questions I could ask you. And I liked this question. So I'll ask you first. Are you ready?
Ready.
Here comes Q&A day. Jeremiah, I said, are you ready?
Ready.
What is one thing that you wish you could change about your past?
That is always a tricky question because when you think about your past, everything you've done up to this moment is a result of your past. But one thing I always wished that I would have done is gone to get a higher education. I probably wouldn't have met you though. I'd probably
you probably
be
would have
off
ended up with some
floozy.
Some bachelor degree, broad.
Yeah, no.
That's a good point.
And that's the thing is like, what does that say about you? Like, did you, not like, I'm not saying I'm unintelligent. Like I am intelligent. I am smart. I am. I believe it. Trust me. Look at my eyes. I'm not saying, but like I felt like getting a higher education. If I was able to still be with you and meet you and have a bachelor degree, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that would be possible.
No, I agree. I agree completely. You like, what can you actually change that's going to have an impact on your life that doesn't also change so many other things in your life? It's that butterfly effect and the sliding doors thing.
Do you think I could, I would, or get physically fit
Sooner.
Like build healthy habits of like eating, reading, and feeding. Oh, eating, reading, and feeding. Not the same thing. That's all the same thing. But
what?
I would love to be a voracious reader.
Ooh.
Big words.
Look at your vocabulary.
I may have not gotten a higher education, but by amoeba effect, I always say my wife went to college.
Do you mean osmosis? Do you know what an amoeba is?
Amoeba effect.
You were going in a good direction with voracious, and then it just kind of took a turn.
Let me just let that one land right there.
It's true, though. Like, I agree with you. I think that there's, like, you just never know what could have changed. And I agree. I think that when you're younger, you have no kids and you're unmarried, it's such a great time to get a college education. Like, I think that's why it's placed at that time in people's lives. But that's also when you're making those decisions of, like, where do I want to live? What city do I want to get married? Who do I want to marry? And the people around you are who you're looking at. And so if you had, gone for your education, you wouldn't have been working where you were working in the place where we fell in love.
We also, it's funny that Jarrell is on here. Jarrell was my first boss. So I wouldn't even met Jarrell. And we wouldn't even be podcasting.
Well, maybe you still would have worked there and then got an education later.
I could still get an education.
You can.
I can. It's not too late, right?
Please do. Okay, but I like your answer of getting fit. That's a good one I hadn't thought of. I think that would also be my answer. If I had, like, earlier in my life.
You did everything right. What did you do wrong? You got a bachelor degree.
You
got married.
Probably ate emotionally as a young child and was overweight my entire life and then never could break out of it. I think that if I could go back, I think that's a great answer because I think it's something that has a positive effect on you without necessarily changing the whole trajectory of your life, because I wouldn't want to be married to anybody else or have any different kids than I have or live in a different town than what we live right now currently. Obviously you never know what could have been, but I want you guys, and maybe we would have lived somewhere else, whatever, but I don't want to lose you guys.
Well, I
So
think this is what comes up is that like people who are married for a long time think about that what if. What if I started doing that? What if, and they go down that route, which is it's a dangerous rabbit hole
slippery slope.
because it is exactly what it says. What if? And it's a you don't know. It's not, you know what's right in front of you, tangible, and you have in control what, like the things that you have, and you need to water those things and love those things and take care of those things and change your outcome. A lot of times when you lean onto these what ifs, they're just lame. They're lame. I don't have the words to say, but it's false. It's a lie. It's not something tangible. It's something just it's a disease that can infect your marriage, that can infect your love, and in the way that it hinders the depth that you could have. Because if you're always thinking in the future, not the present, or what ifs, not the present, you're not going to be growing in relationship and love and depth with one another. And you're not going to be the best father or husband and that will continue to drive a wedge. And I think that's the dangerous part. Like, get out of that stinking thinking, as you would say, and start working on your marriage. Because that what if, like, you're really just desiring something more. And you have everything kind of like when you start pouring into your wife and loving your kids and working hard, whatever it may be, getting healthy, like a lot of those what ifs become reality and actually produce fruit and actually become satisfied, versus like you become a 50-year-old divorced dad and like a beer gut belly listen to Creed and you're like,
what did Creed do? How did Creed get dragged into this?
home and now.
You guys just got a little taste of Pastor Jeremiah. There's the passion stepping in, and he's getting on a preaching.
It gets me a little preachy. So
you're a little preachy.
We need maybe a preachy button, like preach it.
Ooh, no. I like a preachy button, like preachy.
Preachy. Calm down.
It was preachy.
No,
it's good. It's all good things that you're saying.
Yeah. And I'm not like, again, it's not like it's just, I want to encourage people to like step away, like step out of yourself, take a deep breath, and just go back to those big feelings. Why am I feeling this way? And include this person here. When you include your spouse in your life and communicate your heart, and don't be scared, if they know your heart, that's all they want. And they want to be included.
Yes.
And the best of me is when I include my wife.
It's true. We're better together. Let's land that plane. It's great. Woo. That preachy plane needs to come in for landing.
Kim.
It was great. And I don't mean preachy in a bad way. It was like, it reminded me of when you're on stage preaching. I want to answer the question as well.
I thought you did.
I started to agree with you. Did
I hijack your answer?
So I was agreeing that like I hadn't thought about that, but I do like that answer of like I wish that when I was younger that I had developed healthier habits and just better self-discipline that would have carried me through, college and into my 20s and into marriage. Like, of course I wish I had that. That would be like, if I could go back and change, I think that's what I would change. But my own answer that I thought of before you said that is probably after all the chatting we just did, it's gone. So
I thought, honey, we wouldn't change a darn thing.
And I think ultimately that's probably why I can't remember my answer, because like if I changed anything, I feel like it would change the outcome of where we are at this moment. And ultimately we are where we're meant to be. Like, we are where God wants us.
If you can hear a smile, this is what it sounds like. Because I'm just glowing. Don't smack your lips.
Oh, I'm just smiling.
No, I'm like
smiling. That's smiling.
You're smiling.
I love this. I love our life.
And Jarella will not leave Creed alone. For those who are watching, Creed, it'll never be left alone. Creed and Nickelback are the jam. I don't care who you are.
Yes, you do. You care. It's not. You guys save that for your podcast.
We'll do the
your music.
Yes.
Reaction. So I mean, that's our Q&A.
That's a Q&A. Way to join us. You're on this adventure of a ride. We're excited. We'll be here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. because we put our kids at 7:30. They go straight to bed. So we can get in here, give you some advice. Not really. We don't give you
We're
advice.
not giving any advice of any kind.
We invite you into our lives of chaos and say, hey.
We're just having, this is the thing. This is what we would be doing anyway.
Yeah.
Debriefing, chit chat, talk about life, talk about culture.
But
talk
now
about
we can talk to people online. We can invite them in.
Now we get to invite you in. And we get to remember, what I love about, like, even I know influencers who do this are like, my vlogs are for me. And like me logging on, like we do home videos. That's for us to be like, oh my gosh, look at what little babies we had back then. Or like, look at what was on our minds at that time. Like what we were discussing at that time. Look what was important to us at that time. We're going to look back on these videos and be like, what were we talking about?
Yeah. What drugs were we on?
Stop it. No.
We're not.
No, we're not. And we don't joke about it either.
PG-13.
PG.
Alrighty, guys. As you know, that we have 2 viewers, so thank you for joining us.
You.
Those who are with us, sad that you joined us. Next time, if you have a question for us, put it in the chat, put it in the comments, and we will answer that next week. If you have a cultural topic or thing you want us to address or any questions about us, put it in the chat.
And we'll read it. We read the chat. And Jarrell says that Creed cannot be in the same conversation as Nickelback, which
we just need to land the plane there.
All right.
Because I'm going to go on a rant about Black Coffee, Nickelback, and Creed.
Turn it on. Outro. Coming in. See you next Tuesday.
Which
I was told not to say, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Why can't you say see you next Tuesday?
Just say, we need a better sign off. What should our sign off be?
A song and a dance that they can't see.
You shall meet us again on Tuesday next.
Next Tuesday. They can't see that.
Let's fade out. Let's fade
vocally out. They only hear our voices. That's different. It's right here. They cannot see. They cannot see us.
Oh, I see what you mean. They can't see.